Ladies and gentlemen, there is a country where people have suffered decades of violence and human rights abuse, where government forces, armed groups and criminal gangs have killed civilian men, women and children with total impunity. Those people have been raped in front of their children, their husbands, their parents, and they don't even spare little girls aged 6 or 7. Everything was destroyed. The catalog of human rights violations and abuses is huge. Several armed groups formerly part of the Seleka coalition have, in the past, been responsible for killings, abduction, torture, rape and looting. They are still there, committing horrific abuses, and these bloody murderers control about 80% of the country's territory. The ongoing violence against the population is unbearable and unacceptable. Human rights abuses are being committed all over the 86 regions of the country and in the capital city of Bangui. In CAR, impunity is the rule, and lots of amnesties usually reinforce this evident impunity. The government has no control at all over the gangsters. United Nations peacekeeping missions are to no avail. The last peace agreement will not bring any peace. If we really want peace and development, it concerns the Central African government first. The international partners come only to support its efforts. But the weakness of the CAR comes from its summit, from its leaders. Civilians are always the main victims, especially women and children. These uncontrolled armed groups recruit children into their ranks. Most of these children are aged between 3 and 18. The boys are forced into battlefields, carry military equipment, or act as messengers, while girls cook and are used as sex objects. Negotiations were never the solution. None of the many peace agreements signed with the rebel leaders has succeeded so far. The last one, the Khartoum Agreement, has galvanized international support, but violence continues. Now they can control and destroy with legitimacy and means of the state. Again, this is unacceptable. According to the Special Representative of UN Secretary General in Central African Republic, head of MINUSCA, Moncoeur Ndiaye, each and every week, 50 to 70 violations of the agreement, mainly committed by the armed groups against civilian populations, are reported. As previous such agreements, this deal proves impossible. For the same reasons, in this country, we keep making the same deadly mistakes over and over. The main perpetrators of crimes against humanity and human rights violations are protected. They are given official position. By wanting to make the government more inclusive and more representative of the rebels, the former transitional government has failed. So how could it work today with the new government? Here is a short summary of the situation in Central African Republic. The Central African Republic's poverty rate is considered to be one of the worst in the world, with a GDP per capita of $639, which means 95% of people live in crippling poverty with less than $1 a day. More than half of the population faces hunger, almost 3 million people, and they require humanitarian assistance and protection. Half of them half of them are children. The infant mortality rate is among the highest in the world. According to UNICEF, 92% of children die before the age of 5, which is horrible. It is one of the countries with the lowest life expectancy in the world, under 50 years old, about 49. It dropped as low as 43 in 2007. According to UNESCO, Central African Republic has an adult literacy rate of about 36.75%. Tap water is not potable everywhere, causing waterborne diseases. And we're going to stop here for the numbers. The geopolitical ramifications of the CAR's anarchy have already extended beyond its borders, having significant implications. What's happening in CAR is a serious threat to the already fragile stability of the whole region. It threatens to spread chaos in the heart of the continent. It puts the rest of the world at risk because they are gaining greater power throughout the continent. This country, full of natural resources, is becoming a magnet for extremists and for non-state actors. Those porous borders and ungovernable territories make it a hub for states in war and non-state actors. They exploit this country for arms caches and natural resources for their own respective interest. The CAR, for example, the CAR's diamonds are being funneled into the hands of Khartoum-backed Janjaweed militias in Darfur. The other example is the ivory trade has significantly reduced the number of elephants. In sum, the CAR was a failed state and remains a failed state. The current violence also threatens the CAR's remarkable biological diversity. Hunters and loggers have continued to operate in all our national parks. The huge Central African forest is part of the Congo Basin, one of the largest biological reserves on the planet. The Congo Basin forests are the second largest tropical forest on the planet, after the Amazon. These forests are essential for global climate regulation and biodiversity protection, which means they are the second lung of the world. Unfortunately, most of this has been degraded by illegal logging, deforestation, and poor agricultural practices lead to desertification. Our riverbeds are exploded for diamonds and gold, and so on and so far and so on. These multiple conflicts have an impact on wildlife. The CAR used to be an Eden for an extraordinary mix of species. The world's attention should be drawn to the mass destruction of the world wildlife in this country. The mass killing of elephants, lions, great apes, and other exotic animals with automatic guns. Can you imagine? In a generation or two, lions could be wiped out, along with elephants, rhinos, and giraffes. As for rhinos, they have already totally disappeared in this country. The destruction of the nation's wildlife is due to poaching, rebel groups, and also mismanagement from the government. The CAR has now become a no man's land in the heart of Africa. Let's give back to wildlife, forest and environmental the sanctuary. Let's give them back the sanctuary they need for their survival, the sanctuary they used to have before. The CAR authorities fail miserably. They are not able to control the territory and ensure public order and security. In this country, government officials are more invested in promoting their own interests than good governance or human development. This undermines prospects for political unity and meaningful state building. Only the end of impunity and the restoration of the rule of law can stop the violence. This can be done only through the establishment of better governance for the Central African Republic. This country needs a new beginning, a new political and social order. We will stop tribalizing the country's management. Stop corruption that rots everything. We have the ambition of modernizing the country. Ladies and gentlemen, President Obama said, Africa doesn't need strong men, it needs strong institutions. He is right. But when a country is totally wrecked and the institutions collapse, you need strong men and women to rebuild the institutions and the entire territory. We are going to have a different approach, which is that of a national union based on skills and capabilities. We need a government led by people with expertise and skills, capable of restoring law and order, capable to guarantee a decent life to the people, and able to protect the treasures of our planet there. So, as I said before, only a good political solution will bring peace to this country. The Western world would be well advised to put the Central African Republic on the front burner now, before it is too late. That's why I'm running for president. Thank you.